Hello, my name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music as a musician myself. Today is Xenoblade Chronicles. You will know our names. 3-for-1 video. I'll explain in a little bit, but before I do that, this is requested all over the place from YouTube comments, PayPal, and Patreon. Requested also by Nocturne, Ito, and Alvaro. This is a huge one. There's two big Xenoblade Chronicles songs that have been requested for over a year. The other one is actually coming too. Starts with an E. But this one is first. You will know our names. I've been hearing this name for a while. And basically what's going to happen here is I was requested the version from 3 and the definitive edition version, but no one requested the original. So I'm going to take it upon myself to listen to the original and then 3 and then the definitive edition, just so I can kind of like mix it up. But as far as I've asked around, and apparently the definitive edition is just kind of like one. Either way, whatever. It's a 3-for-1 video, so this is a big deal. I'm guessing it's Yasunori Mitsuda and probably Ace. You will know our names. I'm kind of nervous from the original, which I picked out. Let's go. Right out of the gate. Can I just end the video now? Ooh. We are thrashing right now. Okay. It's like cheerful but so brutal. So much guitar. Those are double stops. Wow. I'm kind of glad that was only 2 minutes because it kind of sets up for the other ones. Okay. Yeah, we're going to hear Definitive Edition last, which I'm guessing was that one, but cleaned up. We'll see. We're going straight to 3. I didn't have 2 in here. I think 2 is a different one. But this is 3. You will know our names, and it says normal and climax. I guess it's a dynamic song. There we go. Wow, I can already hear like the big like audio difference, and it's so much more mixed. A lot jazzier. Let me turn this one up a little bit. It almost sounds like a different song. Kind of. Sounds like if Ninja and like made it into a jazz world with some metal. A lot of experimentation in this one. Very. Oh yeah, right. Normal and climax. Right. Okay. Yeah. Still changing. It seems like at this point, the song has had like a staple status. And so now they're just doing a bunch of fan service to the song. I didn't know it was across multiple games. I just thought it was in one game. But ooh, a little piano roll. Either way, the song has just a lot of guitar in it. And then the definitive edition, which I'm guessing is like the first one. So more aggressive, but sounds not as harsh, I guess. Let's see. I'm excited. Oh no, it's different. Okay. Yeah, the first and this version have way more thrash inspired. The guitar is more up front. I really thought it was gonna sound like identical, but they're all different. This part reminds me of Sonic for some reason. Those kind of like higher end chords, double stops. Yeah, it's like a clean. When I say cleaner, I mean the mix. It's a cleaner version. I feel like there's a lot of more emphasis on the keyboard in this one. A lot more synth hits like that. Ooh. Left to right keyboard now. It's a nice melody. Bum, 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 bum. It's almost over. So you will know our names. What a, I've always been intrigued by that title. It's very demanding. It's like catching your attention, right? It's straight up, directing at you. So it's a pretty bold, thing. But apparently, since up until like a couple minutes ago, I thought it was like its own unique song. But apparently, it's what seems to be like a staple among the series. I don't know if it goes with all the other Xeno games, but for Blade Chronicles, yeah, it's definitely like its thing. I don't know at what point this plays. I would have to assume either a reoccurring boss or a reoccurring, maybe not. I don't know, or maybe nothing is reoccurring at all. But it's just like maybe endgame, or I don't know. Really, it could just be anywhere, any really repeating type of thing. Normally, I wouldn't say like, oh, which one was better or anything like that. I just kind of listened to them for what they were. But in this one, I couldn't really help it. There was clear differences among the three. For example, like the one we just heard, the definitive edition one, was more or less the original with a cleaner sound, and by cleaner I mean like the mixture, the mix, and the production of it was a lot more tame. There wasn't as much distortion. Everything was nice and balanced type of thing. A lot of emphasis on the keyboard in that one, I feel. Same with the second one, but this one had a lot more. It sounded a lot happier. The definitive edition one sounded a lot happier. which is kind of confusing because when I think of like I'm conflicted. Like I want to say like it's like a big deal, like a big boss battle or a big character that's always around. But the music is kind of like more on the major key, and it sounds really hopeful. Even the melody, da 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 da, like everything is really uplifting, which kind of goes against what I think of if it's a recurring theme. I would think it's more like devastating and colossal type of thing. Then there was the third one, which is the newest one. That one was the cleanest of them all. Obviously, it's the newest one, but it sounded like really, in a way, how do I say this? It sounded kind of like toned down. It's not something like against it. It just was literally toned down from both of them. Had like these, but in its own way, it kind of shined and made its own path. It was like jazzier. It was pretty experimental. It did some different time shifts and drum beats, all that. And then I believe the flute stood out a little bit more in this one. It's kind of hard to remember like all three of them at the exact same time, but I think this one, I wrote down flute. So I think that the flute made an impression on me in this one. But the thing about the third one is that it sounded like an entirely different song to me. Maybe that's just because I'm not familiar with the song. I'd only heard it one time prior to that. But even then, it didn't sound like the same song. It sounded like another, like, I don't know how to explain it. Besides that, it just sounded like a different version of that song. But I'm gonna just say that I'm not familiar with the song enough to hear. Of course, like the motifs were there and the main melodies were there, but it just sounded like a totally different song. But it was, still cool regardless. And this one was more on the, what was it? It was normal and climax. So yeah, this was, I'm guessing, not how it plays in the game, but more like someone combined two versions of it and just kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's something like that. And then the original, which no one requested, and then the one I chose. Honestly, like I said, I don't really pick favorites, but this one stood out the most. And not because it was the first one and, first impression. To me, it sounded very defining quite a bit. After all, everything is based off of this one. The definitive edition, the third one, the second one, which I don't even, that one has a different name. But, this is the one. You will know our names. Very aggressive, high energy. Reminded me a lot of Blaze Blue, if you guys have ever heard of that. Kind of Guilty Gear-ish, like a lot of thrash. But not only that, but the mixing now has subjective, but it's gone down as far as quality. It's a lot more aggressive. It's a lot more brash, which is what thrash is. It's a lot more in your face. But this one reminded me of, I don't remember the other one. I've done so many Xenoblade songs, but it was like, I said it was in my top 10. You guys might know what I'm talking about. But it was from Definitive Edition, which I'm guessing was from the original then. I don't remember exactly what song that was, but it reminded me of that one. And that one, to me, like really stood out. So it kind of like set the bar actually pretty high. Nothing to take away from like all of them. I'm sure they're all great. But the first one to me sounded like, this is what the song sounds like. This is how it was made. This is it. But overall, out of all three, like the feeling I got over all of it was kind of monotonous, but kind of like this, or not monotonous, but like what I'm about to say is like monotonous. It felt like very epic, very big. That's why I kept thinking like endgame. But when I think of music like this cheerful sounding, I don't really think endgame. So it's a little bit conflicting to me, but it's obviously important enough. And I'm not going to play this game, so you guys can spoil it. But, if you're going to comment, put like spoiler tags on it for anyone else in the chat that hasn't played it. But overall, I got like important, big area and potentially a reoccurring boss or a reoccurring character that's in there. But overall, like the aggression of it and I don't know. It was like what's also different about it? I think it was like the fastest song I've heard from Xenoblade Chronicles. Actually, this might be the fastest song I've heard from anything Xeno in the title. I'm pretty sure. it was extremely fast. So by default, it kind of had some of the more aggressive stuff. When I think of Xenoblade, I kind of think of like everything kind of big production, a lot of violins, a lot of orchestral stuff, and guitars, of course. But this one was just like, boom, out of the gate, you know? So it kind of sticks out in that way. And I'm guessing that it was requested so much to me because of the guitars. And people know I play guitar. But it did have, I think, more or on par as much guitar. I think this had like more guitar than any other Xenoblade I've heard. It's, well, not more, but it's like it's really emphasized the rhythm guitar, the and then of course the main lead is an electric guitar playing really high up on the neck. So it's like everything else kind of takes a backseat to the guitar. Usually like the violin is up front for me or something. So I'm kind of glad I heard all three to get an idea of it, but they're all good. Just the third one sounded like a different song. The definitive edition was just kind of like a also good but kind of tamer version of the first one. I just think the first one was kind of, I don't know. I guess I'm just biased towards it. I think just being the original, laying the groundwork, it's just kind of, you know, you kind of have to, you can't ignore that it's like the one that started it all. So I'm excited to hear more, and also to hear the other big request, which is Engage the Enemy, coming up soon. But I think, I've said this before, but you can't really go wrong with Xenoblade. I haven't heard a single bad song yet. It's just always a good time. But the only thing I will say is that when I heard this song and I saw that title, I always figured it would sound more dark and evil. This one, it just gave me a kind of happier sound, which isn't a bad thing. It's just what I thought it would sound like. It just didn't sound like that. Not a disappointment, nothing bad. It's just, you will know our names, right? It sounds so menacing. But to me, that sounded more just hopeful, I guess. Just all positivity. Nothing wrong at all. It felt like nothing was going to go wrong. So, epic. Cool. Still like the first one. If you want to make a request to me, you could do so on Patreon or PayPal. Either are totally fine. If you don't mind waiting, there is a wait list. If you do not want to wait, there is the Platinum tier on Patreon, which I provide. A big thank you to my current supporters of that: Kevin, Patrick, Shadow Maxim, Vanadel, Kalinin, Gardelane, DJ Singletone, Mushimari, Jordan, and Fissy. Thanks to you for watching, and I will see you in the next one, dudes and dudettes. More Xenoblade Chronicles coming up very, very soon. See you all later. Peace.